With Miller Mott College's online programs, you can choose when you study. Our online programs give you the flexibility to make education work with your schedule. Earn your degree without derailing your life. Visit us online at miller-mott.edu. That's miller-mott.edu.
Dude. Is dudeness, duder, El Duderino.
Hi, my name is Richard Dix, and this is How Did That Happen? A podcast where I look at everyday things or events and try to figure out how they came to be. Every week I will research one topic, and by the end of the episode, I hope to truly have the answer to the question, how did that happen?
Hello, and welcome to another episode of How Did That Happen? This week we discuss dude and bro. Come along for the ride this week as I ask, dude and bro, how did that happen? All right. Glad to have you guys back for another episode of HDTH. This is episode 39, and we're going to be talking about the word dude and the word bro. And it actually gets pretty interesting. I learned a lot during this episode. Let's see, before we get to it, what's going on with me? A whole lot and then not a lot at the same time. That's how my life tends to go. Not really reading that much right now. What am I watching? I did just watch the new Jurassic Park movie. I think it's Jurassic Park Dominion, something like that. It was actually really good. I went into it with low expectations, so that may have also been why it was pretty good, I thought. But it's really a different spin on the idea of Jurassic Park and dinosaurs, which is what I feel like we've all wanted, or at least in my opinion. It took them out of the park, even out of the sanctuaries, and put them into the world, and made it so that it was almost kind of like you're watching a Harry Potter movie or something. You just saw all these different animals in society. People had them as pets, and there's a black market and everything. So just saying that to say, it was actually a pretty good movie. I always watch them just because I like dinosaurs and stuff, but they have been getting a little stale in the last few years, which is maybe why they made a change. But if you get a chance, check it out. Anything else I want to say? Always appreciate you guys hitting me up on the Twitter page and let me know what you think. That's always great. Anybody that wants to continue to stop by and press play, I always appreciate it. So subscribe where you can, leave a comment where you can. I always say 5 stars, 2 stars with some constructive criticism. If you don't like it, tell me why. I'd love to know. I may make some changes. Who knows? Let's see. I don't think there's anything else. So without further ado, I just want to thank you guys again. We just topped over 1,200 downloads on our website, or where it's hosted. Still don't have that website yet. We are working every day to try to get towards that. But yeah, without further ado, here's the episode. Before there was bro, there was dude. And I mean that to say, not that the word bro didn't exist or brother had existed before or after dude. I mean that the idea of the word bro being itself its own kind of word does actually come after the idea of dude is created. It's thought that dude is an abbreviation of doodle, which is short for Yankee Doodle. Just shorten that all the way down to dude. And in the popular press of the 1880s and 1890s, dude was a new word for dandy, which is an extremely well-dressed man who paid particular importance to his appearance. And high society of that time, of the late 1800s and early 1900s, was just saturated with these dandies. These guys just rolling around looking super nice, changing outfits 3, 4, 5 times a day, and getting compliments on it, and still being, for all intents and purposes, I suppose, heterosexual. It's an interesting thing to think about. The fact that you wouldn't probably, those men definitely exist now, but I don't think they are as prevalent as they probably were back then. And so these young men of leisure, they vie to show off their wardrobes, and the best known of this type was a man named Evander Berrywall, and he has a better name than his own name. He was called King of the Dudes.
Wait, let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, that or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
And Wall was first proclaimed King of the Dudes at a resort town of Long Branch, New Jersey in the summer of 1883. So all the way back in 1883, they had a guy who they were calling the king of dudes. Not only do we have dudes, we had a king of dudes. We had a monarchy system just specifically devoted to our dudeness. And so Wall was again proclaimed king of dudes twice over in 1888 by a newspaper called the New York American. And so he would basically just go around and battle his dudeness. Everyone would be like, I'm more of a dude than you, well, let's see, how much of a dude are you? How many outfit changes are you going to do today, dude? How fly is your neckerchief going to be today, dude? It was like this whole thing of like guys going back and forth about how fly they could be. And then all in the name of just being called like the dudest dude out here. And so Mr. Wall, is one last story about Wall before we kind of move on from his story of dudeness. He had a contentious battle for dudeness against a man named Robert Bob Hilliard, who was also a super dude during the March blizzard of 1888. So they didn't have anything else to do because they were snowed in, but to watch these guys just change outfits all day. Old Bob came into this bar with boots all the way up to his hips. And everybody was just like, look at that guy. I mean, dude, he is just out of this world. He should win the dudeness, but Wall still won, and everyone's all like, even 150 years later, they're just like, Bob Hilliard should have won that dude competition. Some sad stuff. Let's see. Okay, you know what? I lied. I have one more thing about Wall before we move on, and this is somewhat interesting. He was the first person to actually or be credited with wearing a dinner coat, like to dinner, if you will, or excuse me, a dinner jacket tuxedo to dinner, because before then every jacket had the tails on them, and so he was like, being like a rebel or pioneer and going against the grain and saying, I'm going to wear this tuxedo, but I'm going to take the tails off and just have a dinner jacket. So if you're ever wondering, if you're at a nice restaurant or a nice get together and you see a dinner jacket tuxedo and you're like, who did that? Well, I can tell you just the dude who it was. And so we move on from the idea of dude being referred to just dandies, and we get to the idea of dudes being, let's see, the word was used to refer to American Easterners, specifically referring to a man with store-bought clothes. So if you're out there buying your clothes in a store, people from the country are going to call you a dude. So dude was used to describe the wealthy men of the expansion of the United States during the 19th century. By ranch and homestead-bound settlers of the American Old West. So people out there in the Old West who are seeing all these dudes coming from the East with their store-bought clothes and wanting to just pioneer the American West. They're like, well, what's up? These dudes are kind of, they're a little soft. So that's actually where the idea of the dude ranch comes from. I had no idea, learning right along with you guys. And so a dude ranch was really a guest ranch that catered to urbanites that were seeking the more rural experiences, but could still, was still like, it wasn't too rural for them. It's almost like it's like camping in an RV as opposed to having like a tent with stakes and stuff that you beat in and sleeping on the ground, in a sense, something like that. But that's the idea of it actually came from, I guess, really, it's all connected if you think about it. So you get the dandies, right? Who are these dudes that are guys that are, I'm guessing, wearing a lot of different colors, a lot of different on this, on the spectrum, a lot of different pinks and purples and chartreuses and whatnot, changing the clothes 10 times a day. Their clothes from the store. Right, and then the version of these guys comes out west when America starts to expand, and all these old like hardened and battle tested Western like guys from the Old West see these guys with their clothes come out here and they're like, whoa, these dudes, these soft dudes. And so that's really where like the continued like expansion of the idea of the word dude, we see it kind of comes from the American West, oddly enough. And so then we see one of the first references in American film to the word dude is in 1969 in the movie Easy Rider, which is a really good movie if you haven't seen it. I used to have it on DVD back in the day when DVDs were a thing. It gets a little weird if we're gonna take a little tangent on the idea of Easy Rider. They do that acid trip and it's a real acid trip, and there's Peter Fonda's in there asking some questions about like why did his mom leave him, and because I think she killed herself or something like that, but like they didn't expect to put that stuff in the movie, but they ended up doing it, and so it makes for like it's a real like really visceral kind of like portrayal of an acid trip because it's actually something that's happening, and that's outside this idea of dude. I'm just a guy who really likes movies and I've seen the movie a bunch of times. But so the first time we really hear the idea of someone using the word dude is an Easy Rider, and I'll go ahead and play that clip for you guys right here.
You must be some important dude, man, like, that treatment. Dude? What does he mean, dude? Dude ranch? Dude? No. Dude means a nice guy. Dude means a regular sort of person. You boys don't look like you're from this part of the country.
And that, of course, is the great Jack Nicholson and Peter Fonda, and I'm gonna get his name wrong. The third guy in there, I know his name. Let me look it up so I don't sound dumb. Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is who it is, and he directed that movie. And fun fact about that, I talk about that acid trip. This movie wasn't received that well when it was first made, and so it actually kind of blackballed him as a director in the industry for a long time, even though it ends up being a classic. And they tried to make a sequel about it, which is pretty bad. They talk about it on this podcast called "How Did This Get Made" with Jason, Paul, and June, and it's actually a pretty good listen if you ever get a chance. But we're getting really off track on this episode. Now we get to the word bro, which to me is decidedly less interesting than how dude came about. But if there's bro, then there's dude, right? Or dude if there's bro. So the Old English, I'm going to get into the etymology of the word bro real fast. The Old English, the way they described, or the way they used the word bro was brobor, or then there's the Proto-Germanic, and they had brothar. Then there's like a broer, broder. We're talking these are Norse, Danish, and Dutch, broder. So there's all different ways that people have been. That's why when I said earlier about the whole like dude came before bro, it's just the idea of kind of becoming kind of a colloquial thing. Because the idea of brother has been around for probably thousands of years, and so that's kind of where we're going back to start for the idea of brother, then just to get to bro. But then there's another one. Let's see, the Proto-Indo-European, they had breter, which comes from the Latin freter, of the same meaning. So all these mean the same thing. They're said differently. And so for centuries, it was merely a graphic. Bro was merely a graphic abbreviation of the word brother. And occasionally, put to colloquial use like sis to refer to a person's sibling. An excerpt from the Oxford Dictionary says, bro's meaning had begun to expand by the mid-20th century, and it came to refer simply to a man, fellow, or guy, or sometimes specifically a black man. And so it says the rock critic Lester Bangs wrote in 1976 that if we, presumably the white jazz buffs, couldn't get with it, then maybe it was only meant for the bros. And so that's kind of what the Oxford Dictionary was talking about when in reference to his quote, meaning that it does appear that at least in that context he meant it for only to mean black people. But I'm not sure if it actually how long that was ever really a thing. But Oxford goes on to explain that by being the sort of a person who says bro, a person becomes a bro, which that's labels, man. That's, But by the 1970s, though, bro began to break new ground, untethered from the word brother. And I put brother in italics because it just, I don't know, I kind of felt like it. And so it came to mean merely a guy, like we said, a male friend. And for instance, in the film script for the 1992 comedy Encino Man, the stage directions state Stoney and Hank have been bros since grammar school. So it really is talking about, planting these little seeds in the zeitgeist of society to get them all to kind of take the word brother from what is just to mean your sibling to then kind of have a colloquial meaning within society to mean more than that. And of course, if we get bro, then we get the punning potential of bro, which is very hard to resist and can still be considered, I guess grown worthy in certain cultures. But I'll rattle a couple off for you before we get to bro culture. We have bromance, bromosexual, bromosapien. And if you think of any others, drop them in the Twitter page. I'd love to hear your conjugations of the word bro and all of that. So now we're up to bro culture. In this one, I'm going to read some things from an article that I'm then going to kind of dispute, but I guess that's all why we're here. This is a University of Pittsburgh linguistics professor by the name of Scott Kiesling, and he argues that bro has thrived during the recent past, at least partly because it offers up a few things that words like dude, man, and buddy do not. And I agree with him on certain parts, but other parts I don't. He says, so I'll quote him, he says, one difference that bro presents is that it is used much more than the others as a referring term to a person, a particular type of person, not just anything. And so Kiesling notes that dude was at one point associated with a laid-back counterculture vibe, but even then it wasn't limited to such a precise subset. And this is where I do kind of, a precise subset of men, this is where I do kind of disagree, because I almost wonder if he's taking it back to, or how far he's taking it back, because we talked about the idea of dude and how it came from the Doodles and Yankee Doodle Dandy and things like that. And it actually did, it was used to describe a particular subset of individuals in society who were, like I said, if you said dude, you conjured a picture of a certain person. So that's why I disagree with what he was saying, because it's not quite that. But I do agree with the fact that, let's see if I can see what I kept. In that way, Kiesling adds, bro has become much more productive than other words like man or buddy. And when most people use it, they are doing so with a specific intent. In general, I suspect that anyone using bro knows what they are doing and why, which is, I don't know why you would assume that. And moreover, taking a stance toward the terms and the culture. Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much it for how bro really happened. I mean, we have to mention the fraternities and that whole, bro culture idea and how it goes from bro and, all that stuff. But I think it all kind of happened pretty organically with the word bro. To me, it's the word dude that has had more of a wild ride as far as you look at it for the past couple hundred years. And that is how dude and bro happened.
And now it's time for the roundup. And we're going to round it up.
The word brother has been around for at least 1,500 years. The word bro didn't start to become separate from the word brother until around the 20th century. Dude is derived from the doodle, as in Yankee Doodle Dandy, and dude was used to describe well-dressed men in the late 19th and early 20th century. Things I didn't know before, and now I know them. Never heard of these things. What are they? So, for the things I didn't know before, I actually didn't have that many that really came across my my desk today that were like, oh my gosh, But what I thought I would do in place of that, because there are so many different broisms out there, I thought I would lay a couple broisms on you guys and define them for you real fast before we hop to the next thing. And so we got, what do we got here? We got a broactive, which is someone who is extremely helpful to another fellow bro. We have a broasis, which is the local bar or cafe where bros meet or hang out. Let's see, we have a brobalization, which is the globalization of bros. We have a brobituary, which is the announcement of a passing of a fellow bro. So you get sad. We have a brobot, right? He's an emotionless bro. He's a bro that is always calling other bros bro. A brocation, which is anything like an anniversary or a bro special event. Let's see. We have this is nice. We have a broda, which is usually an older, wiser, and more experienced bro, like your Yoda, just your broda. There's a broem, which is a poem written in bro's language. Only a couple more. There's a long list. I'm just picking the ones out that I think are just ridiculous. Let's see, maybe one or two more. They have brolicious, which is anything that is just of a bro nature. It's just brolicious. And then one more. We have a broligarchy, which is a small group of bros that control or patrol an area or run a surf break. I feel like if you live in any sort of bro culture whatsoever, you know where your broligarchies are. All right. That was another episode of How Did That Happen? HDTH. Glad we were able to get another one in the books. Looking at episode 40 coming up on the horizon after that. This is gonna come out on Labor Day, so this is technically a Labor Day episode. So because of that, I will give you one fun fact about Labor Day before we get out of here. I looked up a couple of them, and most of them I didn't think were that fun. And this one you can decide if it's fun at all either. But so we got Labor Day is the unofficial end of hot dog season. Oh, that sounds sad. So the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, which I did not know existed until right this very moment, the National Hot Dog and Sausage Council, I need to put in an application, says that between Memorial Day and Labor Day, Americans will eat 7 billion hot dogs. 7 billion. I want you to let that number sink in. That means Americans who make up maybe what? I don't even know the percentage, but there's maybe 400 million Americans in the whole world will eat one hot dog for every person on this entire planet between Memorial Day and Labor Day. That what I get from that is Americans go in. I know I've had my fair share. I've definitely contributed to this year's $7 billion. And if you want, on the Twitter page, if you're still listening out there, comment on how many hot dogs you've contributed to America's 7 billion hot dogs from May to August. It's just like sometimes you're just like, America, it doesn't let you down. But until next time, guys, thanks for pressing play. See you next week.
With Miller Mott College's online programs, you can choose when you study. Our online programs give you the flexibility to make education work with your schedule. Earn your degree without derailing your life. Visit us online at miller-mott.edu. That's miller-mott.edu.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.